All right, guys, what's up? So recently, one of my good friends, Kasai, I'm sure if you're familiar with the Dark and Darker community, you know him, Bad Kasai. He's one of the best players in the game. He's a Brazilian player, I believe. But yeah, really, really good player. Recently he sent me this, and he wanted to get my thoughts and opinions on it. He made, as you can see, a shit ton of posts up here on the Dark and Darker Reddit. I assume this is probably more than just his own opinions. I assume he probably talked about this with a few other people. Um, and I'm gonna go over them. I started reading. Honestly, I'm not gonna because he sent me. He's like, yeah, I want to get your opinion on this, and I was like, all right, bet. And I started reading, and I didn't realize how much it actually was. And so one of the reasons I want to make a video is because a lot of the things he said I think are really good, and I agree with. And then another reason is honestly typing out all of my replies to him on the things I think would just take a really long time. So kind of copying out and making a video on it. So to start off with, simultaneous waiting lobbies going on at the same time will stop teamers/stream servers a bit, yes, but it mostly makes the game feel dead. There are like four different queues going at the same time, all with three players each instead of being one full. Just remove that and ban people that break the rules. So if you don't know how the queue system works in this game, instead of it filling up one full lobby, moving on to the next, one full lobby, moving on to the next one's lobby, it starts like it opens five different lobbies and it'll do like one team, one team, one team, one team, one team. So it fills five lobbies or 3 out of 15 or three out of whatever lobby thing is, and then it does that like it fills them that way. And because these multiple lobbies exist at the same time, they try to make it harder for people to get into the same lobby. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I do agree with him here. I don't think this is beneficial to the game. I think for large part, this doesn't even really work that well. I mean, I also agree with this part. Just remove the ban people who break the rules, right? Like I think like just ban them, right? I understand part of the reason, like, you'd want to do this too to prevent like people like trying to like dupe or whatever on like dead servers. However, I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you are never gonna stop them. People can still queue into each other incredibly easily. You're really not gonna stop them. And if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it. Just get better at picking that up and ban people. Everyone else shouldn't suffer for your mistakes. Also, now I'm doing this. This is going to be a very long video. So just a disclaimer. I'm just gonna be talking for pretty much the entire video. So just do whatever you want to do. Tab out, listen to it, don't listen to it, turn the video off, dislike, do whatever you gotta do. Gear-based matchmaking, skill-based matchmaking will balance the gameplay between players. Meh, it mostly just allows people to exploit the mechanic to free farm in newbie lobbies and also make the game feel dead. Splitting the game in more queues is not what we want with only 12k players. Just remove it. I agree and disagree with this. I think gear-based matchmaking, well, because I mean, skill-based matchmaking was like the AP system, right? Like the ranking system. This is like, I don't think this was good. However, the gear-based matchmaking system I think can be good. I think my thoughts on the gear-based matchmaking system currently is what they need to do is remove norms entirely, and then make the gear-based matchmaking, make it two tiers, make it a super super low tier, like 100 or something, like really really low. Make meds not count, like maybe up like how much gear counts, make meds not count, because that's one of the biggest problems with gear-based matchmaking right now is a new player, or like let's just call him a Timmy, right? Let's say a bad player like Timmy. They always bring in a ton of meds because they take a ton of damage for PvE, and if you bring in a ton of meds, it almost always will boost you up to the higher gear score bracket, even with like not very good gear on, just because meds give you so much. Make meds not count for the gear score matchmaking, and then lower the cap like super low. Like I'm talking like 50 or like 100, something really really low, because 200 and or like 199 was definitely way too high. It allowed people to make really good builds and smurf down there. Just lower the gear score cap. Allow this to be like the new player area. And like you could say like, oh, well, like what if people go in there with like a green or something and like kill them? Like, yeah, but the thing is like, if like me and Pashi queue into like norms right now and just all white gear, like we're still gonna kill everybody. Like that's nothing. You can't avoid that. The reason that you should make it, not like, you should incentivize them to not do it by other ways. Like if they're really just gonna do that and farm out the lobbies, then I mean, you can't stop that at any point. Like you're like people that are gonna go norms and farm because it's safer because you're not fighting against geared people. Like they're gonna do that. There's nothing you do to stop that. However, I do think gear-based matchmaking, as it is currently, isn't that good because I mean it's just dumb, right? Like I don't see norms. I don't see why we should have gears matchmaking as long as norms still exists, because that's pretty much just its own tier as well. But yeah, is what it is. That's my opinion. I doubt they'll listen to it. The waiting lobby is pointless. It just makes whoever ain't there looking around the whole tavern like crazy be a disadvantage. Literally a FOMO simulator. Also, when people who play like rats see someone 10% stronger than them in the match, they'll never show up at all and hide. Remove it, make it normal queue so then people can be at alt tab doing something else. So Biggest issue with this, I do agree the waiting lobby is pointless. However, with the current iteration of multiclassing, I don't think you can get rid of this, which is a big problem because, like you said, if you're one of the first people to load in, you can run around and look at everybody. You have the advantage. However, if you're the last team to load in, lobby instantly starts. You have no clue what's in the game, right? You could have some like crazy shit that you really need to know with multiclassing that's going to be in the game, and you could just have absolutely no idea, right? Like there'd say, for example, there could be a triple barbarian team all running hide, and if you didn't see that, you have no way of knowing that, no way to play around that. So yeah. I do agree the waiting room should be removed, and it should just be, and he talks about this again in the next post. It should be removed. However, it really can't be with the current system of multiclassing. Still making a normal queue stuff. Only start a game. We have at least 60% of the player capacity there. Then start a 2-minute wait to see if more people enter. If it doesn't fill up to 60%, just let the queue go keep going until it finds it. Without the gear-based matching, skill-based matching in multi lobbies, no queue would take more than 1 minute anyways. You getting a match with no one else ruins the whole purpose of the game. For people who like to fight, it will be hella boring. For people who only like to farm and sell for RMT, it just makes it stupid easy for them. The starting even without players think can only happen in the local roller queue, but if y'all want to remove it from there too, I'm all up for it. Uh, so this is something Fo talked about, just adding like an actual queue system rather than just like a League of Legends style queue system where it like tries to find players before it starts a game. And I would be down for this. I think this is way more fun than starting a dead lobby. However, at the same time, like certain regions, you're just not gonna find players. I mean, yeah, I mean we don't know, like, because obviously, like he says here, without multi lobbies and like the matchmaking system, like maybe they find more players, but like there are just certain regions that are just you're just gonna have completely dead lobbies, and you're literally just not gonna be able to play the game. I think maybe have it like if you sit in queue, like you sit in queue for 5 minutes and doesn't find anyone by 5 minutes, then it just throws you in the game, right? And you could be like, I mean, that's kind of how the system is now, but not really. I mean, I agree the same way because, like, if you're actually in the game, right? Like, if you actually load into a lobby, then you can't just sit there and do like nothing, like tab out. You want to be like, especially with multiclassing, you want to be constantly running around to see if anyone loads in to see what they have. So it's like, so you don't want them to know what you have while you not know what they have. And if you're just tabbed out, that's more than likely what's gonna happen if people load in. But yeah, I think this could work for the most part, but like I said, certain regions that have very, very low player bases, like I mean, obviously I'm an NA East player, which is probably the most popular server, arguably. Like, yeah, on here it's not going to be a problem, but on certain regions that have low populations, maybe at certain times, you literally just would not be able to get a queue. Either make coins a non-tangible thing or make it stupid easy to stash. There are no reasons for us to only be able to stash 50 a person, the bigger stashes being that are rare. Being that rare, all the stashes should be purchasable and cheap. Agree absolutely here. I've never liked that storing gold is one of the hardest things in this game. It's either reliant on you constantly getting troll pelts and making gold bags, or you have to get a gold chest if you're really, really lucky. Like, I mean, I guess you get one from a quest. But other than that, you have to just get super fucking lucky, pull one from a pile, and outside of that, storing gold is damn near impossible. There's a reason skull keys have gone up so much in price, gold keys in the past, because those are the easiest ways to store gold. It's like, a way more, it's like a way higher drop chance item to store gold, basically, than like a chest or a bag. I mean, this is just like, this is something people have wanted for a very long time. It's just not fun, like not being able to store your gold. I still to this day don't understand why we haven't been allowed to buy better like bags and stuff. I always thought like, oh, if we do like the collect or the treasurer's quest, we'll eventually be able to buy gold bags or eventually be able to buy gold chests. It's not the case. It should be, but yeah, I think this right here is the next biggest quality of life change that they're gonna have to make to the game. Other than this, I think things are fine, but I think this is necessary. It's so unfun to have to deal with a gold storage like that. All right, stop buffing rat toxic gameplays. No one likes this. Only the people who play like that. I mean, this is hard to do. I mean, you don't want to nerf things. You want there to be variety in the game. I mean, I agree with this, but the problem is they're just never gonna do it because you want there to be variety in the game. And he says like no one likes this. Only people that play like it. Okay, yeah, but that's still people that play. Still people enjoy it. I think things that are incredibly toxic for the game that aren't good, that is unhealthy, like when people are smoke pot rat roguing. I think that was a good thing that needed to be nerfed. I think that was like when it's getting to the point that it's ruining games consistently, that's when it becomes a problem. But if it's just like here and there, like like a random pickpocket rogue, like that's never gonna be ruining games. It's annoying when it happens, but it's not like enough that it's ruining games, right? Like the smoke pot rogue was a really big problem, but like pickpocket isn't. So agree and disagree here. I remember this not really sound walking thing for everyone only living in the rogues. Creep perk, absolutely agree. Not really much to say here. Creep is just very unfun for the game. Makes you paranoid to have to play. Nerf traps make it a 40% slow for 8 seconds. Scalable physical damage also make a ranger only be able to put it at most 4 at a time after the latest one breaks. I'm not gonna lie, 40% slow for 8 seconds is crazy. I'm not even sure if this is worse than how it is now, but I wouldn't mind this just because getting stuck in a trap is one of the worst feelings in the world, right? You get stuck in a trap, it's like, okay, especially if they put the trap like on a body so you can't even open it. It's just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I don't know. Traps either need to be way easier to see or like they need to have like way less of a duration. My thought on traps was always make it so like if you get stuck in a trap, you can break the trap like instantly for like a chunk of damage, right? Or like CC or something. You shouldn't have to literally look down and open the trap because half the characters in the game that if they are stuck in a trap against an even semi-geared ranger, they are dead. Like either the ranger has to be really bad or they die, just 100% of the time. Completely remove the invis potion. I'm down for this. Make the rogue hide, not make him invisible, rather be always that mirage effect like it is when he's walking with the stealth perk on. Remove the perk and integrate it into the skill itself. Make it be 20 step or else to be too weak. Also remove the thing where he needs to walk or it breaks. Just make it slow you by 30% whenever you're hidden. 20-second duration at most and remove hide mastery. So I don't really think I don't think this would do anything. Yeah, it's gonna make like this right here would pretty much make it so rogues invis was always just a buff for ambush. Other than that, I think Rogue's like Invis playstyle would be awful and completely useless, which I'm not against. Truthfully, I don't think Invis playstyles are fun to have to deal with. I think truthfully, Rogue just needs a complete rework for how their Invis works. They're not fun to play against like at all, and most of the time they're not fun to play. Rogue gameplay generally consists of I run at you and pop ambush as a damage ability, or I sit there and wait and you walk on me and then you die. And with the current meta with Hydras everywhere, that's really not that reliable. It's just unfun for everyone because you have to walk around and Hydra every single corner and every single doorway and just pretty much everywhere they could possibly be. And then if they are trying to do that, they're just never going to be able to. It's a playstyle that's reliant on both parties making mistakes, pretty much. Make opening and closing doors the same speed. You being able to close faster opening just doesn't makes it impossible to chase. Yes, I agree here. It makes it so low interaction speed characters can never catch high interaction speed characters as long as there are doorways. Like, literally, I've seen rogues like open doors almost as fast as some classes can close them. Right? It's dumb. Multiclassing itself ain't a problem. The problem is how Iron Reach introduced it. This should not have come before the talent tree, but rather be part of it. Also, the way is a mix of grind and RNG at the 1 day time gate to make it so insufferable. Instead, it should have been something like this. So, for one thing, he said become before the talent tree. The talent tree isn't going to exist. The talent tree, quote unquote, is multiclassing. They've said that before, so this just isn't a thing. But I do agree with this that it's like, I mean, the grind isn't that bad anymore. It's just takes a few weeks to get like max perks. However, the really big problem, like you said, is the RNG with the 1 day time gate. Right now in HR, if you want to, I mean, I've talked about this in a few videos before, so I'm not gonna talk about it a ton. But pretty much, if you want to roll perks, you literally, or like if you want to play HR, you have to roll a certain set of perks, and if you don't roll them, you just can't. Excuse me, you can't really play HR until you reroll your perks and get those because that's just how OP multiclassing is. Characters only hit level 30 at max. I mean, this is like whatever. This doesn't matter anything. I think level up as much as you want. Who really cares? Talent tree with options from your class from level 1 to 30. No time gate to reset. Only X amount, some X amount of gold. Yes, talent tree would be way better. On level 20 and 30, you could choose one perk slash skill from another class, so 2 is the limit, but it's 20% weaker, and it should be at the same spot where there's something really good for you to choose rather than multiclassing. There's an actual trade-off. Also, you don't need to level up another character to be able to get it from them, because not everyone has the time to grind 9 different characters. And it should let you choose anything you want. Now, there's RNG stuff. No one likes RNG. Pretty much agree entirely here. I think, see, the thing is, I don't really like... It's hard to say. So I agree with the concept, but I don't like this as like for multiclassing, right? Because in my mind, this is just too weak to be considered multiclassing. Like, what the fuck's the point of me having one perk or skill from other class that's like weaker, right? Like, why would I just play? Like, it's just I don't think it's that good. I can't even think of most perks that would really work like that. It just wouldn't be good. This is why I don't like multiclassing as a whole because the best way to nerf it makes it feel like not important anymore. It makes you not want to do it. But you should never not want to do the fun, make it like the cool mechanic like that. Make stashes bigger and share it throughout all your characters. Absolutely. Add boxes to stash specific items like Tarkov. Make them low key, rare, expensive, and some only obtainable through quests. See, now this, I mean, this is basically the exact same thing as Gold Chest. However, I don't hate this because I think this is a lot different. Instead of it being rare and expensive, I think it should just be like craftable items. Like right now, I think the vendor should have really good utility crafts, right? For the vendors, you almost can only realistically craft like weapons and armor. That's all it really matters. Like yeah, you can craft the big gold bag, but it's like not really that good to do. Like why do that when I can just almost sell a troll pelt and it's like what's the point, Ren? Like it's not even that good. It only stores 1,000 gold. But I think having like boxes like weapon boxes and armor boxes and jewelry like cases or whatever being craftable would be really really fun. I would enjoy that quite a bit. And instead of it being like, super rare items that have like a 2% drop chance, just make it like a higher drop chance item or something. Or make it so you get them by doing something else. Or, have like if you kill like 5 Ghost Kings and you get like Ghost King silk and that like is a craftable item or something, right? Like you get like imagine you have like daily quests or something to do like a mission for a crafting reward. So it makes it consistent. So it's like like you have a daily kill one troll, get a troll pelt quest reward, right? Like that could be really cool and be way better than the current system. Add more quests to make them account shared, not character specific. Yes. I don't know about add more quests. I think there's plenty of quests already, but making them account shared, not character specific. Yes. Perfect. Remember the trade chat. No, it's cool action. That feels like the OG old games. We are in the OG old games. The only thing it doesn't make RMT easy as hell in non-official Discord communities being able to dictate the whole trading. I could understand the frustration here, and I don't hate this. The thing is, there are some upsides to this, and the upside to removing trade chat would be like it regulates the economy gets more regulated really, really easily, and like if this would also inherently lower the value of items, right? Like this automatically lowers the value of certain items to like a certain level because you can only list things for so much on the trade market and you also only store so much gold. However, if you sell them through the trade chat, then you like sell it for like chests or keys which you can't use as currency on the trade market, which I actually don't hate at all and I think is pretty cool. It also gives gold more value than it has currently. Make the marketplace be looted items only. The way it is right now, people would sit in the marketplace and resell stuff and control the market all day. Infinite money glitch, LOL. Also, if it was looted items only, people would think twice about not keeping the good items themselves and using it. Everyone now farms stuff, gets a good thing and sells it for RMT, or you should be running. It's the whole point of the game. Nah, I disagree with this. I, I mean, actually, do I disagree with this? I mean, it's looted items only. Yeah, no, I disagree with this. So, the biggest issue I have right here is like let's say you kill a team and it's a really juiced team, but you can't use any of the gear. Like let's say I kill a barbarian. Like his gear is all handled now. Something you didn't find it in raid, but it's all handled now, and I can't use it. 'Cause I'm a fighter. So what am I supposed to do with it, right? Make a barbarian and play with it? I don't want to do that. Give it to a friend? I mean, yeah, I guess you could, but then if you remove the trade chat, you can't really do that anymore. Like you would have to list it. This just doesn't really make sense. Um, they would have to like change this like system. I don't think like maybe like I don't know. This just doesn't really this just wouldn't work, right? There would be way too many situations where this wouldn't be good, so this is just never gonna happen. I do agree that like making people incentivizing people to use their gear more is better, but I think that's what Arena's gonna do. Natural teaming should not be a thing. Absolutely, this is 100% sure. 100%, 100% agree. We've had a tantrum in the community about it before when they made it bannable, but let's be honest, it's the most exploitable thing ever. People be teaming all day and it's hard to prove it that most of them don't get banned. In the end, the person who gets teamed on just loses the will to play the game. No one likes to get 1v2, 2v4, etc. The only people like it are the ones who do it. Sparing people is different than teaming. I'm not saying you should be killing Walking Machine or you're banned. I'm saying that there's obvious natural or pre-lobby teaming situations people should be warned after it's banned if they keep doing it. But if you see a Timmy slash new player, for example, and you want to spare him or even help the little guy, it's funny, help the little guy. If there's no one around, I don't see a problem. So I agree. I just agree with everything here. If like teaming should absolutely be banned, right? Like if you are in a situation, like I'm like my stance was very clear. If you're in a situation where you 2v1, 4v2, whatever somebody, and then you don't fight afterwards, that should not be allowed. I don't care how organic the teaming is, it just shouldn't be allowed. It's not fun. It doesn't matter. Like I don't I don't feel good because you met the guy in the dungeon and decided to 2v1 me versus you queued with your buddy in Discord to do it. It literally doesn't matter, right? I'm still fighting a 2v1. Maybe it's a less coordinated 2v1, but it's still a 2v1. It's still not fun. But yeah, I agree with this here. And like, yeah, like if you see somebody and you don't want to fight them and you walk up and you VoIP to them or talk to them, whatever, like, yeah, that's fine. As long as you're not literally killing people together. Like, who cares? And especially with like the current like death cam system, it's so easy to see. And like this way spectating works, it's so easy to see if people are actually teaming. It's very, very easy. Battle Royale Zone is getting old. Everyone knows the meta nowadays. It's not a fun one. Go check any high level Battle Royale game, Apex, Fortnite, etc. It's always the same thing. People get good positioning, high get zone people out, high to wait to third party. It's not like there's a lot of action going on. It's quite the opposite, actually. Whoever really want to win would just wait to third party people. So in the last zone in the game, we still have like 10 squads live. Therefore, I don't think there should be an extraction game. In the end, it just encourages the camping game style. It makes people be hands on zone RNG. With that said, I think the Ice Cavern is the closest to a good game design we've had. No zone RNG, no camping slash holding game style being the strongest option because you can actually rotate flank without getting stopped by the zone and the rooms have actual space to fight. I disagree here. Or I do disagree, not don't disagree. I disagree here. I think the zone's actually really important to the game, and I think there's a lot of elements in the game right now that prevent like getting zone camped. I think Ice Caves is good in some aspects, but in others I think it's bad. Is if Ice Caves, if you don't want to fight people, you can literally sit on the edge of the map and you will pretty much see people. Like you won't see a single person the whole game. With that being said, if you're into like a high priority spot, then yeah, like our high priority spot, yeah, like you can fight there. However, you could always just like you can literally just sit and perma camp and wait to third party later. That's the thing about ice caves. Is ice caves has nothing that forces you to fight. That's the thing about the zone. Is like yes, people are alive at the end and it's like really bad and like because there's a lot of people fighting. However, there is still a reason to be forced to fight. Ice caves is if I see you and I don't think I can beat you, I can avoid you the entire game and there is nothing you can do to stop me from doing that. Because I can run all the way around the map and I have literally nothing that will stop me from running around the map and avoiding people. So I don't think that's a good thing. I think there's a lot of ways to fight now. I don't think the current meta is as bad as it used to be. I think people are fighting way more now, way earlier. I do think third partying is an issue, but I mean third partying in every BR is an issue. Like that's just how it works, right? Like that's the nature of a BR style game is you're gonna have to play around getting third partied. Keeping the map discussion thing from before, battle royales on remove. Disagree. Fixed extractions can only be used after hitting 60% of the game duration remaining time. I do agree this. I do. I don't think blue static should open way too early. I think red static should open earlier, but I think blue statics open way too early. Fix extracts that have time gates like the elevator or the boat and ice caverns. You actually got to stand the extract before leaving. I don't hate this idea either. Have points of like maybe you have to like open the thing, right? Like maybe it lights up and you have to like flip the switch to open it. I'd be fine with that. Have points of interest toward the middle, the actual middle being the best one, like Ice Caverns, where we have an open gold horde, we can be more creative with it, having actual sub bosses and a mob that dies ultra fast like Wraith Champion Wendigo. Increase the map to 6x6 or 7x7. Hell no, this is way too big. This is way too damn big. I don't think he realizes how much bigger. Like a 7x7 is literally almost doubling the map size. That goes from 25 modules to 49 module. 49 modules. I had to do the math really quick. Like this shit is way too much. Nah, you can. That is way too fucking big, bro. Make the player amount per match higher than it is right now, like 30 matches to 15, so 10 teams running ground in theory. Remove the duo queue, make ice caverns a 6x6, 7x6, 7x7 trio map. Get a reworked ruins back a 6x6, 7x7 map. Make crypts be one map, only a 6x6, 7x7 with the Coliseum in the middle. Continues on. I actually don't. I wouldn't hate. I don't know. I still don't like this. I think this is still just way too big. I think. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't like. I think having Coliseum, like the tower to Coliseum, being something you have to unlock, right? You don't think the same way towers on ruins where we have to kill the golems to unlock it to go up there. I think making it like that would be way better. If you made it like that, then I think Coliseum could be a good map. But I don't like the 6x6, 7x7 map. I do like this though. Having the sub bosses is actually like a pretty good thing. Having something worth fighting over. Even then, I don't think people would. But like even now, like in like the middle room, like the that has like Skelly Champ, Wraith, and like double chest in the middle with all like the arches around it. Like people don't even clear that room that often because it's a pain in the ass to clear. And if you pull that, people are just gonna run and kill you, right? If they come around, like there's nothing you can do. But I do agree with remove duo queue. This should happen. New map rotation number 4, have the map rotation of trios be 6x6, 7x7 ruins, ice cavern, or crypts, and not crypts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. By map rotation, I mean just like the one we have now. You cannot choose the dungeon you're going in. You just do trios and get a random one. Unfortunately, we don't have the player base to split in 3 different queues. Also, people won't be as mad as for not playing crypts because the next suggestion. Make each map a specific hell for it. All of them need to have a second floor of the boss and high loot equally to crypts hell. Ice caverns will have the ice dragon, crypts can have the skeleton warlord, and ruins can have reworked harder ghost king. That's fair. Lich can be used as a sub boss for the first floor, like I mentioned. I think this is how it's supposed to be. I'm pretty sure Lich is always supposed to be like a first floor boss. Makes sense. I actually don't hate this idea. I don't really like the idea of it being a randomized map though. I think if anything, just make the map like rotate like once a week, right? Like every week you get like ice cave or like one week it's ice caves, one week it's ruins, one week it's like crypts, right? This is something that would be incredibly far off in the future. This is like a very very long time that they're because that's so much work they have to do. Reduce the mob density of some rooms. Don't make the mobs as aggro of whoever they started to chase at first. Only make a change that target's out of range if someone does more damage than that target. Yeah, I agree there. That's because how mobs just like randomly cycle aggro sometimes is really fucking annoying and it could completely kill you. The way it is right now, just go make it so easy for rats to aggro the whole room and aggro dump them all into you for chasing them since you're the closest target to them. If we're making someone chasing aggro the whole room, insufferable in theory. Makes people at disadvantage for aggroing the whole room. Agreed. Buff really hard trios loot. Right now you can easily make 2x more in solos in one match, which takes 1/3 of the time. Then you make a trios run going hell, killing the boss. Trios is really not worth the time at the moment. Again, buff trios loot, do not nerf solos loot. Like one of the main things is trios boss should at least drop one legendary item every time, and the legendary unique chances should be increased. Yeah, I could agree with dropping at least a legendary. I'm fine with that. However, I don't know if unique chance should be. Yeah, fucking increase unique chances. I haven't pulled one all life. Fuck me. Um, but yeah, I agree with this. I agree with everything here. I do think buffing trios loot is definitely important because trios loot right now is really, really bad. At a somewhat leaderboard system like the playtest one, it's really cool to have some reason to play. Some people really like that grind, so it's really fun to watch people competing for first place. But they should not come with a skill-based matching system. It should be just another reason for you to play the game. It should also not have limited rewards at the current leaderboards, and people who don't like that hard grind don't miss out. It should be like the old reward system where first place you get a wanted poster or a weapon with their name in the tavern. Make it be a somewhat ranked system, so if you die, you lose points on the leaderboard, and the high levels, it gets harder to climb up, easier to drop down. That's adding some skill to the competition, and not just whoever spends the most time. Make it be a boss killer, player killer, treasure collector leaderboard, no extraction leaderboard because it encourages ratting. Uh, I mean, okay, this right here is definitely something that's like a top player thing, right? Like this is literally just a top player bias thing where it's like, because Kasai, like I mean, like Kasai and other people, like they're the ones that compete for first place. So they're the ones that actually get these rewards. I do think the current reward system is good for people because it gives something for everything, right? Like regardless of the rank, you get some sort of reward. I mean, it's not like crazy, but I do agree with like adding like bringing this leaderboard back. Because the thing is for me, it's like the current leaderboard is basically just treasure collector, right? That's like 99% what it is. So what's the harm with having treasure collector, player killer, boss killer, right? Like there isn't any. Just bring it back and let us see it. I know they keep track of the stats because we have our player stats. Just bring it back, put it on a leaderboard. There's no harm there. And this right here is a fantastic thing. To add on to this, the only thing I think is if you're a higher rank, you should not be getting that many points for killing lower ranks, right? Like I don't know like I don't know how it would work for killer leaderboards, but yeah, like killer like that's like a flat leaderboard like killer. It's like how do you lose points, right? Like it doesn't really make sense because like if you die, like what, you just lose one, you lose multiple or something like that. I don't know. It's hard to say. You could look at the KDA leaderboards; those like kind of hurt it, but the problem with KDA leaderboards is how they worked. You just play 20 games and then camp it, basically, or you just played until you get a perfect 20 games. Keep the current leaderboard as an adventure progression or something like that, just something that people would like to grind for, but not as grinding as leaderboard I mentioned before, the actual rewards in the end of the season like we have now. As I mentioned, the all problems, we want to remove tavern, we should get back as a place to hang out with people in the gathering hall. Yeah, I'm down for that. This would be cool. Add the old waiting room from ruins to camp as a training testing area where you could just test your stuff without actually needing to hop in game. Absolutely agree. Improve the game netcode. Being on a slightly high ping feels like complete garbage. For Melee, I don't agree. I've played pretty much on every server I can. Like I've played on EU servers, I've played on South American servers. I've never had an issue with this, even being on like relative like playing on EU servers, I feel like fine, right? Like I could definitely feel the ping, but it definitely doesn't feel bad for me. Maybe it's bad worse for like range characters, I imagine. Balance the classes around trios like it used to be, and if you want to keep it even more fair, have a different balancing for each solo and trio, like in League of Legends where we have different balancing for Aim and Summoner's Rift. Yes, 100%. I agree here. However, their balance team is dog shit, and they can't even balance for one mode, so I don't expect them to balance for two. Gear disparity is a problem. Now the game is the latest, at least gear disparity has ever had. You can legit go with all greens, the right roles, the right place, and rip people apart. Harder for fighters and barbers because they are stat checkers. Extraction looters are supposed to have gear disparity. If you keep nerfing it, it will get hella boring. Gearing up should be cool and rewarding. Yes, you will get diffed by again knowledges, 2 out of 3 good rolls. So what? It's in a lot of time and in-game money to get that together. When he dies, it'll count as like 20 farming, like 20 farming played matches. Okay. Gear disparity should be a thing. It's like the whole point of the game. It's not like they're unkillable. Most of the servers have the immortality mentality. Some start to play dumb. They eventually make mistakes. You don't kill them. Do not nerf gear, please. I think gear disparity is fine to have to an extent. Yes, I think at some points it's a bit too much. I think I'm not gonna say right now it's too much. I think right now it's relatively close. It's definitely closer than it has been in the past, but right now it's not the worst. But I wouldn't mind if they toned down high end gear just a bit. I think right now you could still get incredibly broken, but there's also multiclassing in the game, so it's hard to tell what really, what's really good. I think when you have really high level gear and you combine it with good players and like buffs from like Bard or Cleric, then it becomes way too strong, right? Like it's like the gear alone might not be what wins you the fight, but it's definitely a large portion of it. And while I think gear should be important, I don't think gear should be more important than skill to an extent. Like if I'm full legendaries and you're greens, like I should have a ginormous advantage over you. I mean that's just expected. Add new rules urgently. Gear becomes hella linear and boring at the moment. Yes, I agree with this right here. There's like because it's just the same. It's the same. You build the exact same rolls you have for like months now. Buff the overall chance of getting decent gear. Most of the gear you get is useless because the useless rolls and get solo. No, this is I don't agree with this. See that thing with this is I've said this a lot, but the problem with making gear more common, like good gear more common, is gear like you don't appreciate good gear if every piece you get is good, right? Like if every weapon you picked up had weapon damage, you wouldn't be excited to find a good weapon with weapon damage rolled on it. That's just you have to have bad so you can appreciate good. Remove regular and magical interaction speed to let them only be a bonus for resourcefulness as you will. Remove memory capacity bonus, leave only the added memory capacity and buff it. Buff duration, debuff duration slightly, buff duration slightly. Spellcasting speed slightly. Projectile reduction, physical healing, max health bonus slightly. No, not this. This action speed's already good. Action speeds, both of, okay, both of these are already good stats. These do not need to be buffed. Armor pin and magic pin, yeah, I can see in the current meta, magic pin absolutely. Increase the minimum amount from all rolls to be at least 60% of the maximum. Uh, I mean, at a burst, they can real. I realize we can twice don't lose the stats, but so little as zero. So, yeah, okay, I actually don't hate this. I actually think this is a pretty cool system, right? I like the idea of being able to re-roll or maybe add a certain stat to your gear, but I don't like all this. I mean, yeah, like it's just like this it's like a necessary thing to have bad gear, right? Like I said, you have to have bad gear to be able to appreciate good gear. So that's just always going to be a thing. Increase the time to kill. Right now, you can die in a matter of seconds, which completely makes you have zero counterplay. I think that the first attempt to make TT counter would be increasing every character's HP by a decent amount. See how that goes. Yes, I agree. This would be something that's really good. However, this would disproportionately benefit characters, right? Like a fighter or a barbarian getting an extra 50 HP is effectively a shit ton more than a rogue or a wizard getting a 50 HP, right? And like a rogue or a wizard for 50 HP, all that does is makes one extra hit to kill them, which yes, that's pretty big. However, you go for it's like one extra hit to kill a squishy, where it's like 3 or 4 extra hits to kill a tank now. Range meta, even though I don't totally agree, range meta is totally real. I think there could be some changes. Fighters should only be able to use crossbow if they have the weapon mastery on. Disagree. Bards should not be able to use crossbows, only survival blows. Do agree. Wizard magic missile damage should be hardly decreased at melee ranges and increased at long ranges. Yes, I actually like this change. I think about buffing projectile reduction roll about a decent balance suggest for they'd be eaten up to tune down ranges, but also make the time to pull a string slightly slower for every bow. Okay, so the problem with range meta isn't necessarily like it's not even the damage, right? Range meta, the problem is just that how hard it is to push them because you have to cover the distance, and if they kite back, then you're also then it's just if they can kite you, like they don't hit you really hard initially, but they can kite you for so long that you have to waste so many resources that and even then you might still not kill them because they can always just turn and run from you. That's the biggest problem with the range meta, quote unquote, is it makes it really hard to play the game, and that oftentimes it's not that you can't push them, it's that even if you can, it's way too risky. So your best play is usually to sit there and stare at them. But removing range like from shit like this, like weapon mastery, like this is literally you are making them run pretty much a useless fucking perk just to have range to exist. Like I think range is completely necessary in the game, and a fighter without range feels fucking awful. Bards being able to use survival bows though is pretty good. I think it actually gives a pretty good niche to survival bows when there really doesn't have one. And I think crossbows just on bards, it's like it just doesn't make sense, right? Like survival bow, like it's kind of like I kind of like feel like it fits the bard like theme for some reason. But crossbows don't. But it's what it is. Completely overhaul the spell system urgently. As it is right now, it feels super clunky and has a lot of flaws. This causing spellcasters to be really hard to balance and really boring to clear PV. Also causing them to be sit 1/3 of the game, which is stupidly boring. Yep, true. Remove this bulkhead system and turn it into a cooldown system to keep the memory capacity system though. Make the roll cooldown reduction be able to roll on gear and not be from resources only. Add mana to the game. So casters would need to constantly drink mana potion to keep casting. A warlock be the only caster that wouldn't need mana because he uses health instead. Add a mana regen roll and also make it a bonus roll from will. 75%, 20% knowledge. You'd not need to be resting for mana regen to work. Make mana regen 3 times faster while resting. I agree with all this. I know a lot of casters have before. But this is something that would require an entire system overhaul, and I just don't see this being ever done in a long time. But I do think a cooldown system for spells, much like Greed is good, would be way, way better. Holy shit. A rune slot system would be super cool and also make gear a lot more interesting. Add a backpacks, ASAP, quiver, ASAP, add more quests, add basic QOL. Be able to rotate items in your stash inventory, auto sort button, very little aura, command of a dead player, mob body telling the rarity, the highest rated item inside of it. This is cool. I actually like this. I think this is just fun. And then this right here just gets you excited, right? Like you see a dead body shining like gold, that shit just gets you excited. Like this is just fun. Color on the item, image into the ready of it, add druid ASAP, add new perk spells, skill to all characters ASAP, add at least one new thing to each class, add more depth to melee combat ASAP. By more depth, I mean making a directional combat like Mortal, I mean like adding charge attacks, some with dashes like daggers, new way to parry block with some other weapons. I don't really agree with this. I think adding more to, I mean, I think adding new weapons with cool, like special things is cool, but you don't want to make it too complicated, right? And then shit like this, like dagger dashing, it just gets really, really annoying. It's like, you almost makes it necessary to run because it's a movement ability you have to have. Do more stuff to interact with community, Twitch up something, Twitch your base, balance your game better. I do 20 more pages about this. Let me know if it's needed. Fucking Kasai, man. But yeah, most of this is just like shit that he wants for the future. I mean, I agree. Like most of this is all needed. However, certain things like this right here, like this is just not happening, right? Like this is not going to be happening anytime soon. Be more communicative with your community. Super important. Absolutely agree here. Tell us deadlines you guys can actually accomplish. Once again, agree. Write the whole patch notes down. Huge agree. I hate when they fucking put shit in the patch and don't tell us. Have more dev Q&As, but answer the questions though ambiguous answers. Even if it's just we cannot speak about it. Respond to negative text test faster. Something you wanted to test it, never positive answer for like 1 or 2 weeks. You should be never keep it going. So people that didn't like it will never come back after going through a big period of the game being in a bad state. Once again, absolutely true. Test every patch beforehand on the test server. Don't repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Pay some dedicated players who actually know what they're doing and to actually play the game to help you balance this game. I mean, I think having a good test team is important right here. Like having a good testing team is very, very important because then it lets the devs test stuff and then like see what's good. And I think that's it for now. Let me know if I guys have something and later your opinions everything I said. Also, let me know if you want to do successfully class perk skill balancing. Thank you. All right, that pretty much wraps it up for the for all of his things. That was the last tab we see over here. So I agree with a lot of the things he said. I think some of them are unrealistic. Like I think a lot of this right here is just like shit we want, right? Like like I mean this right here, like a rune slash system. Like this is like very vague. Like you don't really like it's hard to say. Like there's something like this is all like most of this shit is like a lot of this is like shit that could be like done over a very long period of time. It's like things you want, right? Like once all of this is in the game would be great, right? It's not gonna all come at one time. However, I do think a lot of this has merit. Like a lot of this quality of life stuff, being able to rotate items, auto sort, like this right here, like this is like or shit right this right here, right? Like this right here. Being able to see like the rarity of a loot on a body, that's like super small, like a super small change to the game that makes the game feel much better, right? Like when I kill somebody, I see it, I'm like, oh shit! Like you see a unique, like oh fuck, like it makes you excited, right? That is just something that's a very small thing that has a big impact on the game. Then like quality of life things like the gold storage you mentioned, fantastic. I think absolutely should happen. Getting druid, like that's good. And like stuff to interact with the community, like talking to the community more. Those are all like needed things in my mind. But a lot of this is like I think a lot of this is all like normal stuff, and I agree with some of it. I disagree with some of it, but I mean that's what it's gonna be. Kind of hard for me to like. I'm never gonna agree with like everything people say, but I do think he has. I do think he has a lot of very very good points, and I think a lot of the things should be done. And I think this is the. I think his opinions aren't definitely just his own. There are a lot of people that agree with him, me being one of them for most of the things. However, I do think a lot of the problem is a lot of the changes, while they are good, it's just not realistic to get them all implemented, right? Like at the end of the day, I know Iron Mace is like like they're a smaller team. They have a lot of shit they're working on, and I know I talk shit about them, and I some of the shit I do talk is valid. Like why the fuck don't we still have Druid? What the fuck, Iron Mace? It's fucking the 28th. You said we're getting it this month. Where's my fucking bear? Like what the fuck? But I think they are. I generally think they are like at least trying to do stuff. So maybe it'll be better. But yeah, I just wanted to go over this video, go over all these patch notes. Honestly, one of the main reasons I wanted to do this is because I didn't have to type out other replies. So I don't even really care if you watch this video. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. If you're still here at the end, that's what's up. I don't know, say something in the comments or something. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.